Well, well, well. We are back once again with the first set of DayZ patch notes of 2025. And when they were saying that these ones are kind of long, you know, they weren't kidding. What the fuck? Okay. And I hadn't even went like down this far, but okay. Obviously, we're gonna start at the top. Okay, Frostline expansion. Added. New features and locations. New villages added to the eastern coast. A new shipwreck location off the coast of the Shantar Island. And added wooden log cabins on mountainsides. Loot and map enhancements. Improvised sandbag bunkers on Burukan Island replaced with new concrete bunkers. Dynamic military containers now require a corresponding key to be unlocked. Huh? That's interesting. Damn, I guess that ruins my plan of heading over, just like running over the ice if I get the right spawn, and then going for like M4s and AK-101s and shit. Wonder where you get the key though. Anyway. VSD variant with wooden stock, handguard, and old metal body, as they showcased in the little dev stream. I was about to say trailer, but no, it was not a trailer. Aniva City has been expanded, reduced the vegetation cover on the military island. Environmental interactions. Snow falling from the trees and on various interactions, cutting, harvesting, tree falling, car hit, and sprinting through. Naval buoys with flashing red lights to serve better navigation through the ice sheet maze. Particles for explosions on snow terrain added. Functioning mounted outdoor thermometers reflecting the current temperature. Boats can now despawn, degrade continuously until destroyed, which is really good, because I think when a server would wipe for the first time, first time, bleh, all the boats would get gobbled up and hidden somewhere, and then you just never see a boat again. So I think this is a really good change. We have the player is now able to get the heat buffer with all clothing for longer, increased for low insulation, so you're gonna be able to stay warm for longer periods of time. That's pretty good. Added a delay between falling unconscious due to blood loss. I'm kind of glad, because it's always been a bit much. Behavior of lights in the warhead storage rooms. I think this is referencing the dimming lights that you'll see in the Sokol bunker now. And the lights will start to dim more and more as the generators in the bunker are running low, so that gives you an indication of when you should get out of dodge. Audio. Sounds of footsteps from walking in the forest with and without snow, as we saw the whole sounds of the twigs like snapping under your feet. New ambient sounds for warhead storage. I guess warhead storage is just the name of the bunker. New sounds for the power generator added. New audio of birds, changed in intensity and variations. Reduce the noise level of owl sounds. Thank God, man, because those bastards are deafening. Loudness and reverb for electricity and storage doors. Okay, we have the fixes. Gameplay effects. Heavy metal poisoning effect could persist after player death with a new character. Jesus! Ain't that a kick in the head? Collecting and eating snow inconsistently impacted player temperatures. Fixed inconsistencies in the freezing calculation. Heat buffer plus signs now display accurate heat buffer duration. Portable power generator could not warm up the player. Wait, so you can warm up, but I mean, I guess it makes sense that it would give off heat, but like enough to warm you up? Damn. Clipping and collision issues. The player is able to clip through the drill in the geothermal plant tower. Clipping and collision issues with the Antonov plane wreck. Goats could spawn inside rocks. I've seen that a couple times, actually. Specific items could be built inside warhead storage. Fixed exploits used to look through walls. Wheel particles will no longer be present if a vehicle is driving on a surface without any defined. So I guess that means like without any defined like snow or blah 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 blah. Boats could disappear when left on the shore or ice shelf. Mushrooms spawn in a dried state. Incorrect surface and interior detection in the Sakal power station building. Fire barrel fire could look different compared to the fireplace when dying out. Levers in Sakal's power station are off after server restart. Sakal school had a Chernarus flag. Opening the storage doors in the bunker is not properly matching the sound. Stashes buried in snow did not properly save in server storage. That's rough, actually. Animal and player interaction? I don't know what that means. Player could drink from springs from any possible direction. Oh, man! I can't fill my bottle from the back of the spring anymore. Come on. Frozen animal corpses could be skinned. Wait. So if an animal corpse is left in the open for too long, you'll not be able to skin it. And I presume you could, like, put a fire next to it to warm it up, so you'd be able to skin it, but, ooh, interesting. It was possible to cut out the seeds from frozen vegetables. Doesn't surprise me that that's not intended. Sound and audio. Sprinting through a snow-covered tree could not make a sound. Soundtrack related to the volcano could not play near it. Okay, so fixes to the soundtrack. And that's all for the fucking Frostline DLC, by the way. Now we're moving on to the general game. Backpack and item attachments. New item attachment slots for specific backpacks. I'm excited to see how that is. From the dev stream, it looks like the strap slot. So, like, think of the slot you could put on your glow stick and your radio/GPS. It seems like they've made them universal. So you could choose, not, let's say normally, I can't remember off the top of my head, but let's say normally you could put, like, a glow stick on the left strap and a radio on the right. Now you'll be able to interchange them, and it also looks like you can put a compass on the backpack slot as well. So you could have a compass and a radio and a GPS, 2 glow sticks if you want, I don't know. You do you, pal. Anyway. Also small tool slots, so things like hatchets, ice axes, field shovels, crowbars, you know. That sort of thing. Sound effects. Sound of rattling teeth when a player is exposed to low temperatures for an extended time. Sound of boat propeller. Sounds of the boat splashes are now matching the animations. Sounds for deploying and disarming mines and explosives. More variations for bullet crack sound. Yeah, they showed that off in the dev stream. Bullet hit effects on vegetation. Different hit particles for autumn, green, and conifer trees. Yeah, it's like when you shoot through a tree, they showed it, that, like, leaves will fall from the tree. Obviously, snow will fall from the tree on Sakal, but yeah, you'll get different colored, like, leaves based on the trees. We now have animations for patching items, that's repairing them with sewing kits, so regular sewing kit, leather sewing kit. Repairing with tape, which they actually showed off in the dev stream. Cleaning and repairing firearms. I'm actually kind of intrigued to see that animation. Splitting of long sticks, which we saw, the kind of breaking it over the knee. And splitting firewood, which we haven't seen yet. UI and quality of life. Controls option settings now have numerical values. Controls option settings can now be edited by entering a specific desired value. Clickable link in the main and pause menus to access the feedback tracker directly. That's really good. I like that. It makes it much easier to find. Wait, this reminds me. I need to add the link to the feedback tracker to my dev stream video because I forgot about that. New hints added during the loading screen. Nice. Technical improvements. Latency exploit mitigation. Freezing players in place when having a bad network connection. Okay. Wait. So, if people are having a bad network connection, and does that extend to, like, driving a car? So, like, if I'm driving a car and my ping spikes, is it just gonna immediately stop me dead? Because if so, that could be huge. That could be absolutely huge for car issues, as has always been a prevalent thing in the history of DayZ. Less so recently, I'll admit. I've not had as many issues with cars recently, but always nice to see. Changes. Sound and audio improvements. Reworked SMG weapon sound. Improved cooking sound effects system indicating done, in progress, and cooking without ingredients. I'm guessing that's with, like, cooking pots primarily, but why do they keep changing the cooking sound? I just got used to the last one. Nah, the sounds are probably higher quality now. Sound of the wind when driving the boat is only audible to the boat driver. Improved footstep sounds for some building interiors. Improved trigger zones to ensure consistent soundtrack playback in specific areas. Footstep sounds changed with the aim of making running enemies more audible than the one carefully approaching. Boat sounds reduced from close ranges and increased on long distance. So you'll hear more, I guess, more of a distant, like, loud reverb of a boat in the distance. But when you're sitting in a boat, you won't have to fucking shout for people to be able to hear you if they're also sitting in the boat. Weapons in combat. Reduced smoke of the VSS because it was too obstructive. Particles for the M4A1, M16A2, SVD, FAMAS, UMP45, VSS, Mosin rifles were updated. Rebalanced dispersion and damage of the Mosin SV98 and SVD. Heavy attack modifier keybind moved correctly under the combat category instead of unsorted. I think that's like controls, right? So if you look, when you're changing your keybinds, you can actually look in the combat section now and find the heavy punch that by default is shift, by the way. Vehicles and boats. Boats now slowly decay when abandoned for too long. Again, mentioned that earlier. Pretty good feature. Hoods of car wrecks are opening in the same direction as the drivable cars. Crafting and action. Splitting items from attachments is now possible. I'm not totally sure what that means. Cutting up guts to make a rope leaves player hands bloody. Makes sense. Added continuous crafting option for some actions and recipes, such as digging worms, repairing tents and its parts, repairing car parts and chassis, repair with blowtorch, crafting bone and stone knives, repairing electricity, repairing with epoxy, I gather this means electrical repair kit, by the way, sharpening, patching, repairing with rags, repairing with tape, cleaning weapons, repairing planks, and repairing with pliers. So not only did we get new animations for, off the top of my head, cleaning guns, duct tape patching, leather sewing kit patching, but we also have continuous actions. If you don't know what it means by continuous actions, it is similar to the change they made to bandaging, where bandaging is a continuous action. So if you have 2 bleeds, you just hold, and as long as you've got a bandage or rags or whatever with 2 uses, you just hold down the button and it'll do the first one, and then you just keep going and it'll do the second one. I don't know why I'm doing the, like, little arms rolling animation of the the bloody bandages, because you can't see me, but still. Inventory and interaction. When scrolling through the inventory, the active gear section remains pinned to the top of the screen. Items created after player actions are found below the player more randomly, not directly on top of each other. Food poisoning has been reworked. Chances to catch salmonella versus food poisoning have been rebalanced. Cooking human steak to burned is no longer removing the brain disease. I didn't even know about that, and that's kind of funny. Water boiling when cooking is now indicated by particles and new audio sound. Fishing mechanics and equipment were rebalanced, reducing junk catch rates, adjusting signal timing, and tweaking bait and hook performance. Yeah, they did say they wanted to make fishing, like, you have less of a window to react. It's slower, especially with improvised materials, and those improvised materials will also, like, break faster. Oh, also this, I kind of glossed over it initially. This isn't really going to be that important for Sakal, because boiling water doesn't clear it of the heavy metal poisoning. But on, like, maps like Chernaris and Livonia, this is good at, like, actually having an indicator when water boils, because if you didn't know, you can actually boil water in, like, a cooking pot if you don't have chlorine tabs or access to fresh water. So you could fill up some water from, like, a lake or a river, and then boil it, and then once it boils, it'll be clean, good to eat. Obviously, let the cooking pot cool down first, you know, but still. Burn rate of fireplace fuel, except firewood, and kindling has been increased. That just means that sticks, rags, paper, bark, everything else except firewood burns faster. So I guess it incentivizes you to use firewood. Increased blood regeneration for low food and water levels. I think that's alright. Increased blood regeneration while unconscious if the blood level is low. Items carried by players while swimming now adjust more quickly to match the water's temperature. Surrender emote is no longer possible while standing in cars and boats. Huh. Particles for cooking hot items and breath of characters. Yeah, new particles for that. New particles for vomiting and bleeding. How charming. Items that are obtained by fishing, like pots and wellies, are no longer of pristine quality. Fireplace goes from scorching to cold slower to make more space for reigniting it. I kind of like that. Dead foxtail changed on the model and in the inventory to look more natural. Removed the redundant rough and precise skill meter from the tutorial screens. That's the old soft skills, which basically did nothing anyway, so, you know. Player could receive chemical poisoning instead of food poisoning when opening the unknown food can. That's kind of crazy, actually. Cow, goat, and sheep are now more likely to run away. Now, the fixes. We're like, just about halfway through, by the way. This is going to be a long one. Performance and gameplay. Fixed a game crash related to throwing physics. Possible to see through walls when cancelling or finishing a dig-up action. Exploit of players being able to peek through the trees. Exploit of getting inside a locked room in certain houses through closed windows. Players could perform actions and move freely while inspecting an item. When digging worms, players could see through walls. The infected and animals in water did not have the correct sound. The wrong sound played when crafting a fireplace with firewood in hands. The boat engine sound did not turn off after the boat was beached with the engine. Sound of infected falling to the ground after being killed did not play correctly. Oh, that was not an intentional thing? Huh. I thought they just disabled it for, like, the snowy maps for some reason, but I guess not. Hold on, where was I? I was here. Sound of some doors could be silent and delayed. Okay, yeah, I've definitely noticed that. Weapon sounds sometimes had delay issues when firing large magazines continuously. Tree ambience sounded like footsteps in the forests. Okay, so they actually changed that. The bloody tree ambience that sounds like footsteps. Change the volume and audible range of bullet impacts for players to hear. Some weapons are missing jamming sounds when jamming occurs. Or, I don't know if that means they fixed it, or if that's like an observation. I feel like that would be a known issues if it was an observation, so they probably fixed it. Combine action to mount barbed wire in inventory was not working as expected. Items dropped in corners were floating in midair in small houses. Possibility to scroll in both inventory and vicinity at the same time in certain conditions. Dragging and dropping items from the inventory to vicinity slot sometimes did not work. Mounting barbed wire action prompt could be hard to target. Splitting the stack could trigger desync with the server. Splitting item stacks in the splitting the stick could trigger desync. Splitting item stacks in the inventory would sometimes place them in vicinity instead of the inventory. Oh, so they fixed that. Cool. Single and double fire mode does not work when using shotguns and firing single rounds on double fire mode. Oh, okay, so if you set the gun to double, but only have like a double barrel shotgun, you set it to double, but you only have one round loaded, it doesn't work, I guess? Switching scope modes on one weapon carried over to other weapons. Okay, cool. So if I switch down to my Mosin's iron sights, if I pull out my SKS, it will also be on the iron sights, even if it has a PU. Gotcha. I like that. Consistency. Noise levels increased unexpectedly while crouch walking with a raised firearm. Players couldn't sprint after lowering a firearm while crouch walking. Attaching a suppressor to a weapon was sometimes not possible. Damn. Start engine action was not displayed when starting up the boat without the spark plug. Vehicles and boats could start bouncing when hitting rocks. Items stored within fire barrels mounted in trucks could fall to the ground during a server restart. The car startup for missing spark plug would not play if no fuel was in the car. We're still going. Clipping and seeing through various buildings and objects has been fixed. It's now possible to place large tents in big hangar buildings. Players will no longer be able to place fireplaces and garden plots in the air, even if a server has placement collision checks disabled. No more fireplace climbing. No more garden plot climbing. Lamau. Below a sign pointing in the incorrect direction. Mitigated the issue of some objects clipping through the containers. Some trees had incorrect particle effects when being shot. New exterior wall texture on old military barracks asset. Cool. Sun rays could be present in the Tizzy HQ basement. Weird. Fixed a faulty pose in the hair animations. Players were coughing, laughing, and shaking when unconscious. Animation for taking improvised fishing rod to hands from shoulders was incorrect. Left hand could get deformed when jumping backwards with a two-handed firearm. Burning sound of food continues playing even after it is cooled down. The water bottle containing liquid could get damaged when cooking even before it lost the water inside. Cereal box was misplaced when cooking on cooking spots. Burnt green bell peppers would stand unnaturally on the fireplace grate. Cooking items could clip through the fireplace. The hatchet now has correct textures in all of its damaged states. Unknown food cans could sometimes not be eaten after opening. Damaged state for the female hoodie was not visually displayed. Localization in UI. Buttons for audio settings had the wrong focus when changing menu tabs. The online tab loses focus after the focus player disconnects. In-game server browser could focus on search by name line instead of server names. Localization for lock and unlock briefcase was not correct in some languages. Chernaris. Part of the Vybor airbase was visible on the in-game 2D map. Fixed issues with certain houses that players... Oh, this is Livonia. Fixed issues with certain houses that players could see through when looking around the corner. Wrong street sign to Geralto. New and more coherent set of footsteps for some surfaces. Water was not properly aligned with the canal and the Livonia underground. Server. Added boat decay multiplier to gameplay settings, JSON, to tweak the newly introduced boats despawn mechanic. Yeah, they did mention the boat despawning as a server-side thing. Admin logs now inform on player death by selecting respawn, while uncon, restraint, logout, or drowning. Fixed. Linux servers could crash on shutdown. Fixed. Weapon spawn through init-C could not be reloaded. Optimized JSON file loading. Synced player stats of int type is always 0 on the client. Changed. Update the debug monitor to allow higher resolutions. Added count in map flag to certain flag items. Added Luna Park flag to Sakal, still not actively used in default configuration. So they added it to Sakal, but it's not spawning by default. Okay. Launcher. Added description field for servers displayed in the server browser. Added, you can now double click a server to join it. That's pretty nice. Fixed. The server browser would falsely report servers with more than 36 mods as no mods. Jesus. All this modding stuff. Okay, right. I'll go through the modding stuff. I normally don't, but my mama didn't raise no bitch. Game version 1.27 Workbench has received major improvements in many areas which have made Workbench incompatible across versions. Please make sure that you always use a matching version of Workbench with your game, especially when using the script editor and its tools. Added new winter snow-covered Chernaris rocks. Ooh, that'll be big for like winter Chernaris. Better script API for obtaining game frame rate. Script editor option to debug on custom port. Script editor forward navigation. Script editor mouse 4 and 5 buttons can be used for navigation forward and back respectively. Hey, I've got mouse 4 and mouse 5 buttons. Cool! Cut and copy with no selection will now cut and copy the entire line respectively. Okay, actually it looks like... Oh, hold on. Okay, there is something. I don't think I'm going to read the rest of these because I don't understand most of them. But this one catches my eye. Changed. Enabled retexturing of a large amount of game models. And there's so many tickets! I just want to see... No! No, you can't retexture the Santa hat! No! Damn. Santa beard, I mean. Okay, so you can now retexture the following weapons. Let's get through this. The SSG-82, the AS-VAL, the CZ-550, the FAMAS, the AUG-AX and A1, MP5 parts, the M14, so the DMR. You can retexture the Longhorn, the P1 pistol, the CZ-75, the Deagle... grip? I guess that just means Deagle. Knives, and the Fange knife. For optics, you can retexture the... I think that's the AK night vision scope, ACOG 4X and 6X, backup iron sights, pistol sight, hunting scope, Kashtan scope, Cobra, carry handle. I'm not sure what that is. That might be the combat sight or something. Longhorn scope, PSO1 scope, PU scope. I think reflex scope is like the RVN. The Starlight is the NATO night vision scope. I have no idea what that one is though. Any guess? You can retexture the Saiga, the double barrel shotgun, stocks are retexturable, MP5 buttstock, M4 buttstock, FAL folding buttstock. You can retexture these magazines. DMR mag, SSG mag, MP5 15 round mag, 1911 mag, VAL 20 round mag, and VKIR 30 round mag. You can also retexture the Jerry Can, scarred motor helmet, so the Yellow King hat, medium tent, gas mask filter, underground stash. Oh, so you can retexture the stashes easier. Glass bottle, Muska glass, Gorka helmet visor, baseball cap, the tuna can? Okay. And you can retexture the deer and the wild boar. Okay. Terrain Builder will no longer display error pop-ups when working with it. And the known issues, there could be longer loading times when starting the game. We are investigating causes. And Bulldozer, when used as a model preview, sometimes won't display the model and won't refresh when any changes are done in Object Builder. Okay, so that was one monstrous update. So I think that'll be it from me. Once again, I would encourage you to play the new DayZ Experimental branch if you can, if you're on Xbox or PC. I imagine PC is going to be out soon. I mean, it's 1 p.m. when I'm recording this, but by the time it's up, it'll probably be like close to Xbox being up as well. But yes, play Experimental. Report bugs on the feedback tracker. I promise I'll remember to put a link to it this time. But yes, I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful to you.